Greetings, class, and welcome to Module 7. Last week was an important week because I was able to review and grade your midterm exams, which I returned to you. I want to thank you for the work you did on those. Some of you did absolutely outstanding work on them. Greatly appreciate the effort that went into those exams. I want to give you a heads up on the final exam. It'll be the same format, same number of short answers, same number of essay questions, and so hopefully those of you who maybe didn't do as well as you would have liked to on the midterm exam have a better understanding of what the final will be like, and we'll be able to do a little bit better. As always, I provided feedback on all of your exams. Last week we also looked at gender inequality and sexual orientation, and we had a discussion in which you were to argue whether gender inequality was still an issue. As always, I enjoy the discussions and what you post. Some of you posted very lengthy, very detailed responses, which I appreciate. The class has really improved a lot in terms of providing documentation and evidence to support the views you present, evidence from the course material, and that's exactly what scholarly work should do in the social sciences. Those of you who've gotten better at it as midterm has gone on, I appreciate it and thank you. It'll help you in your future courses. This week, we turn our attention to population growth and aging. As you know from the course schedule, I only assigned one chapter to read because your paper is due, and I'll get back to that in a moment. Your paper is due at the end of this week, so I thought one chapter was sufficient because I expect you'll be spending a lot of time working on your paper. We will have a discussion on population and aging, and I'm going to ask you to argue the position that population growth is actually the most significant social problem we face. It's not as glamorous as some of the other problems. Terrorism gets a lot more attention in the press, just as one example. Crime, of course, always gets a lot of attention. Poverty. But I think a reasonable argument can be made that population growth has a more insidious and perhaps wide-reaching impact than many of the other social problems we've already considered during the course. Population growth and aging, both are covered in the chapter for this week, are linked together. For instance, the United States population continues to grow, get bigger, as a result of growth from within and also from some immigration. But the population is aging at the same time. As I'm sure all of you know, Social Security provides income for older Americans, income that many of them absolutely need to avoid slipping into poverty. Well, that system is based on funds that are contributed by workers. Well, as the population gets older, there are fewer people in the population actually working. So that means there are few Social Security taxes going into the system to support those Social Security payments. So aging and population growth are linked in ways that can have a potentially devastating effect on our society or on our economy. We need enough people working as we go along to put enough money into the Social Security fund in order to provide resources to pay out those Social Security payments to the people who spent their whole life working and who count on that money in order to take care of their bills, their obligations in their so-called golden years. So they're linked. With regard to the paper, yes, it is definitely due at the end of this coming week, the end of Module 7, it's Sunday. And I hope you've been working on it as we've gone along. I've got a number of questions from some of you during the past few weeks just to get some clarification. So I take that as an indication that some of you are working and have been working hard on those papers. I'm looking forward very much to reading them. And again, please make sure that you incorporate plenty of information from the sources that I specified in the instructions. I also posted an announcement letting you know that you could use information from government sources, government websites, in addition to the other information. I posted that a week or so ago to help you. Many of those government sources have statistics that might be useful to some of you in writing your paper. You don't have to use them, and they certainly are not to be in place of the information from the other sources. You need to see plenty of information from the peer-reviewed journal articles and from the course material in your paper. I will be checking email, of course, all through the week. So if you have any questions during the week on the papers, please don't hesitate to send them to me. I'll be glad to help you. And make sure you get them in by the deadline. That's really important. I hate more than anything having to give somebody no credit for a paper they worked hard on just because it didn't meet the deadline. So please make sure you get it on the deadline. Don't wait to the last minute. Something happens to your computer, something happens to your internet supplier. You don't want to have that problem. So please don't wait till Sunday at 10 minutes of midnight to get your paper in, if at all possible. I do know many of you have a lot of obligations, which is why I gave everybody the instructions to the paper the very first week of class. I didn't want anyone to have to feel like they were going to be rushed. So I'm looking forward to reading the papers very much, and I hope you have a great week, and I'm looking forward to the discussion we will have in the discussion, as always, and take advantage of my willingness to help you if you have any questions. Okay, have a great week.